Court of Pardons is called back to order. The time is 9:56. Our next case is Mr. Clifford G. DeRoos, DOC number 313243, date of birth October the 19th of 1973. He is a third-class felony offender. He was sentenced on November the 4th of 1996, first-degree murder to death. November the 4th of 1996, first-degree murder to life. On May the 28th of 1996, illegal possession of stolen things. November the 4th of 1996, theft. And November the 4th of 1996 on simple burglary. Here today, speaking on his behalf is Nalia Campbell, his attorney. Not speaking is Matilda Carbia. Speaking is Kenneth DeRoos. Brittany Baptiste DeRoos. Not speaking is Robert Morris. Lauren Guthrie. Speaking is Tracy DeLuce. Christopher DeRoos. Not speaking, Devin DeRoos. Dan Bright. Speaking, Sharif Cousin. David Fitzgerald. Not speaking, Pamela Clayton. In opposition, present but not speaking, Mr. Zachary Daniels. Mr. Edwin McGowan, the attorney, will be speaking. Verona Nakampasa will be speaking. Dana Nakampasa will be speaking. Glenn Riches will be speaking. Terry Bourgeois, present but not speaking. Michael Riches, speaking. Clara Matamoros, speaking. Mana Letitia Matamoros, not speaking. Fabio Delasanto, present but not speaking. Giselle Shakespeare, present but not speaking. Pam Achapinti, present but not speaking. Michael Burton, present but not speaking. Monique LaPara, speaking. Douglas Denzer, speaking. Keith Collins, speaking. Judy Jones, not speaking. Joe Ainsworth, present but not speaking. Alton Adams, present but not speaking. Mandy Maley, present but not speaking. Nola Booth, present but not speaking. Charlene Mara, present but not speaking. We have a lot of people here and we do appreciate everyone coming. I want to reiterate our time limitations. There will be 10 minutes per side. We have figured out 5 persons, 2 minutes each, and then 5 minutes for each lawyer. So I want you to be aware of that. When we get to 10 minutes, we're going to cut you off. I apologize for that, but that's our rules. It was in the agenda. Everyone was aware of that when they came here today, and we're going to have to hold true to that. So we're going to keep time. When you get, I assume the first 5 people will take 2 minutes. When you get to 1 minute and 45 seconds, I'm going to raise this up. You got 15 seconds left to go. Okay. So we do have more than 5. If you want, bearing that in mind, if you want a particular order to call your witnesses in, I will be glad to do that to both sides. Having not known what order you want, I'm going to call in order that I called out. So
I think we did it.
I don't have it. Do we have an order? I had an order on the previous case. I'm sorry.
Is it Tracy Christopher Kenneth? Is that the
Yes,
one?
that's correct.
They've been scratched out, but
Yeah,
that's,
well,
that
that
doesn't
don't-
mean anything.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, all right. Does the opposition have an order?
I'm not.
I have the 5 speakers in order.
If you don't mind, give them to me and I'll write them down.
Yes. First is Michael.
I'm sorry, I've got a big list here. That would be
Riches.
Michael Burton,
Riches.
Michael Riches.
Michael Rich. Oh, Michael. No, I don't. Yeah, I got you. I'm sorry. Mr. McGowan, who else?
Second is Sandy.
No. I'm sorry, you said Sandy, last name is
Riches. Riches.
I don't see the name on the list. Did I call that name out?
Yes.
And it's Sandy is the first name?
Riches, and a card was filled out.
I have Glenn Riches and I have,
It's also Sandy.
He's not, sir.
Glenn Richards.
Glenn Richards is not speaking. He's not.
I don't have Sandy Riches, no. Okay, but I'll write that in. Sandy Riches.
Thank you.
Okay, and your third one?
Brian
Yes.
Denzer.
No. Doug Denzer, Brian, did you say?
That's correct.
Brian.
Douglas Brian Denzer.
Okay, Brian, I don't have Brian. I'm sorry, I have you only listed as Douglas Denzer, so Douglas Denzer, okay. That's your third. Who is your fourth?
Fourth is Miss Dana.
First name was
Dana. D-A-N.
Dana, okay, and your fifth,
Keith. Collins.
Keith Collins, okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. We will now hear from those in support of Mr. DeRusse. Our first speaker will be Tracy DeRusse.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
My name is Tracy Derozan. I'm the sales brother, Clifford's uncle. I just want to say a little bit about Clifford. Clifford, was a troubled kid, had trouble in school. Education was bad for him. He didn't, read or write, but none tried to help. But he really was a good kid. I really didn't have any trouble out. Now, the time he served in jail here, he been, mentoring my sons. I got 3 boys, never been in trouble. Don't want to be in no trouble. So they understand what can happen. I just need to say that him getting his education in jail is a good thing. His diploma and all that, he's proud of it. I just want to say he's not the same person he was years ago. He's a totally different person than he was. And we love him to death. We really do. We love him. And we like to continue to see him and help him and him counsel and talk to my son. I got 3 boys from 23 to 33, and none of them ever been in trouble. So I just like to thank you guys for having us here this morning, for giving me a chance to speak in his behalf, because he's still a part of our family, and I go and see him as often as I can. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your comments. We'll now hear from Mr. Christopher Darasak.
Name Christopher Derrizzy. I'm the nephew of Clifford Derrizzy. I just wanted to say something about him. He's not the same person that he was when he first went to jail as a child. His age might not see the mental and everything else. He was still an adolescent. He's very supportive, like emotional, and within everything. He's not to downplay what he did and think. He's very accepting. He's very accepting of everything that happened and everything else. He doesn't really regret. He's known for mentoring others and as well as on the streets or in prison as well as younger guys who were there, who remind him of the age he was when he got there. He's found Christ in a way that I cannot explain. Like his faith is like unmatched. And I just ask you guys to mute a sentence because he does have something to offer to other people in life, like he does have something to offer this world in general. Doesn't matter like if it's in general population or whatever, he does have something that he can add on to the world. And I just appreciate you guys for listening to me and giving me this opportunity. I want to say thank you and I'm
Thank you very much, sir, for your comments. Appreciate your comments. Next, we'll hear from Kenneth DeRusso.
I'm Kevin's brother. I'd like to say that through this process, my brother was he didn't have some things in life coming up so far as structure. Unfortunately, it took him to go to prison to get the structure that he needed, discipline. Mental health, mental illness that never was addressed when unaddressed. I can remember the good times when we were kids. Going to Kings House Community Center, where we all played football and swimming during the summer. On weekends, we would have go lucky kid. So far as Clifford, we say that he's a different person, he wasn't the same. The thing was, before this all happened, he wasn't the same person the week before this. The person that I saw on the news, I didn't recognize. That wasn't my brother. So the person he is now is who he is. He's got a chance to get education. He's talking about somebody that didn't know how to read or write. He obtained a GED and he fought hard for it. It wasn't easy. It was something that he actually struggled. We talk about it on the phone. How he was concerned, worried about fail. He has. I just think that he actually can offer, like you say, somebody young just coming up, tell them, the things that went wrong in his life. And he could actually be a part of the, Angola community and mentoring, being productive so far as working, actually adding something and not taking away. So part of our family, we support him. We love him. We have a lot of family that cares about him, asks a lot of questions. And just moving forward, I just like to say that he's never was a malicious person. And I just want to say thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Now we'll hear from, now we'll hear from Mr. Sharif Cousin.
Thank you, Lord, this morning. I'm number 77, that's the 77 person, something exonerated from death row. And came to did a talk in support of Clifford, because I was a 60-year-old child on death row. So, as a child on death row, Clifford was instrumental in helping me to maintain my sanity while I was on death row. Even though I was on death row for a crime I didn't commit, I was able to understand and know and meet and got opportunity to talk to a lot of the guys regardless of their criminal situation. Clifford, I can say, was a friend because he never advised me any wrong things. He was in a cell next to me. I was able to read and write some letters for him, and we talked about him getting education. I'm glad and to hear years later, he was a man of his word. On behalf of Clifford and the family, and on behalf of a lot of guys that's on death row, I asked Dan to come with me. He's also on death row with me as well, and Clifford. We know that we can never bring anyone back. And I want to address that, I'm sorry. But we also know that if we're here, we have something to offer. And I'm here to ask the board just to offer him here, at the very least, to see and hear about some of the good things and the things that he's accomplished, even being on death row. As a kid on death row, I never imagined I would be free one day, even though I was innocent. But as a free man, the least I can do is to drive to Baton Rouge and ask for support for another person just to have a hearing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we'll hear from David Fitzgerald.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. I've worked with the ministry and have been with this ministry in Angola a number of years now. And we brought the first Garcia basically to death row in February of 2018. And this is, biblically based. If you're a Christian, that the corporal works of mercy, and we will visit prisoners. It's commanded to do that. It was one of the greatest experiences of my life. I never in my wildest dreams thought I would be on death row with these men that we were able to minister to. Part of what we bring is a message of redemption, forgiveness, and rehabilitation. And we're not naive. We know we don't get them all. We get some of them. Clifford is one of them. I've known him since 2018. I have met with him at least monthly before COVID in a prayer and share environment where the prisoners lead us. We're their guests. They take part of the Bible and teach a lesson, and we discuss it. And Clifford has done an outstanding job. When I read his record, it said that he was a slow learner. He's transcended that part. He really has done a good job, and it has taught me some stuff about the Bible. I wouldn't want to argue with him about that. I think he would be great in the general population. He would probably end up being a trustee. He's that, and I'd like to see him get that chance. We have a lot of justice in Louisiana. We need some mercy now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we'll hear from Ms. Campbell.
Good morning, members of the board. Thank you for this opportunity to address you. And thank you to everyone who has spoken today and who will speak on both sides. Clifford Dorsey is intellectually disabled. He has an IQ score of 74, was in special education classes since the age of 10, and was noted to be functionally illiterate with mild to moderate social adaptive skill deficit. Despite his intellectual deficits, Clifford has become a model example of the prison system working as it was designed. Before his arrest, he was a high school dropout, not able to stay sober more than a couple of days. He stole cars and did whatever he could to fund his habit. Since being in prison, Clifford has dedicated his life to Christ and has been sober for more than 2 decades. And after over 20 years of trying inside and outside of prison, his proudest accomplishment is obtaining his GED in 2022. Clifford takes any opportunity to better himself, including actively participating in Alcoholics Anonymous, Page Your Raid, Thinking for a Change, obtaining a CPR certificate, and participating in a number of religious programming along with other programs offered out of prison. Clifford has proven that he is not the worst of the worst and that his life still has value. He has become a mentor and counselor to those that are in danger of following in his path. Even from within the confining walls of death row, Clifford has had a profound impact on people's lives inside and outside prison. His uncle Tracy, brother Kenneth, nephew Christopher, sister-in-law Brittany, family friend Cherie, and spiritual advisor Terry have all traveled here to speak on his behalf to attest that he has and will contribute meaningfully to his community. We understand that at the center of this inquiry is a huge loss and have compassion for the unending grief that the victim survivors have experienced daily. We ask only that the board grant Clifford the opportunity to demonstrate that he is a changed man. We implore you to see that his life has value, and he can continue having a positive impact on those that encounter him. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Now we'll hear from the opposition. We'll first hear from Mr. Michael Richards.
Thank you for the time to speak today, and I respect the tremendous power that you all have. Strongly oppose this person for any type of clemency. It's deeply traumatic to think about clemency, considering the horrific things he did to my family and Gary Booker's family. Committed senseless acts of violence against strangers that he wanted to rob and steal from. I'm sick to my stomach as I'm reading this. I hope you all consider 28-year-old, very deep wounds and scars that continue to be ripped open if my family continues to struggle with this tragedy. I understand each case deserves a review and that many other cases possibly deserve your time. If you've reviewed all these details and you think he deserves clemency, then I ask you to consider clemency for me and my family and be lenient on us so that we do not have to keep going through this. This is very difficult. Please hear all of our pleas and help us close this difficult chapter. The pain and suffering that I thought was way over is still taking tolls on my family. Please allow our justice system's unanimous decision to stand, and to change this decision based on misguided, positive intentions destroys the very core and foundation of justice. Justice has been decided, and let justice. My name is Michael Riches, brother of Dan and Champasak, shot by Clifford and survived, and Etienne's uncle, who was murdered with a very heavy heart.
Thank you very much, sir. Now we'll hear from Sandy.
My grandson, Etienne Champasak, was taken in a heinous attempted carjacking on November the 6th in New Orleans. My daughter, Dana, was shot 4 times. 2.5-year-old Vinaya was in the car and had injuries from flying glass. That day changed my family's life forever. The loss never goes away. The empty chair at each holiday, birthday celebrations, and every life that Etienne did not have a chance to live or be a part of. He was sentenced to death that day. I can only imagine the young man that Etienne would have been. I think of the impact he would have had on our lives and the world. We know that Mr. DeRue shot and killed Etienne. He was convicted and given the death penalty. I do not believe he should be given clemency due to the horrific crime he committed. The extreme pain and memories the family must go through in these cases are brought forth is devastating and gut-wrenching. Just to relive all of the details, which all of this brings back, and the pain. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll hear from Mr. Douglas Gazer.
My name is Douglas Denzer. I was a neighbor of the Champasak family when this occurred. I was present to witness the carnage that was disturbed. I regret that we have to be here. This I regret that you, the members of this panel, have to consider this matter. You're considering the futures of the most heinous criminals in Louisiana history, and you may hide behind your rules, as this is just an administrative hearing. But we understand that if this matter proceeds, this family will be re-victimized as they have been every day of their lives for nearly 30 years. I hear that Mr. Deverse has pursued an education that he's not the same person. Etienne de Champassac was unable to pursue an education. He can't be present because Mr. Deverse ended his life at 11 months old. At 11 months old. After Mr. Deverse got the purse that he wanted to obtain money. And the family, Dana, attempted to drive away from the scene. He callously fired his gun into the back of a vehicle with 2 babies in it. One of those bullets passed through the brain of Etienne de Champassac, who died 2 days later in the hospital. He couldn't be saved. Today you're trying to save Mr. Deverse. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I regret that he had a difficult childhood. But I regret that he had a difficult childhood. The only mercy he deserves is the mercy that his creator might grant him.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your comments. Now we'll hear from Ms. Dana.
There are no words. There are no words. I feel love. Compassion for everybody in this room. It's not just about me. It's not just about that baby. Will it? So much life. And I have so much compassion. So sorry. Clifford didn't, his life led him to the moment that I met him. I looked him in the eyes, saw his face. He had a gun pressed against my head. I couldn't get out of my car. I wanted to obey him. I wanted to open the door. He was screaming, "Get out of the car! Get out of the car!" I tried to open the door. I couldn't. I wasn't going to push against the gun. I said, my babies are in the car. He took the gun and he pointed it at each child's head. I knew at that moment, someone's gonna die. The bullets that would be found in Etienne's head, that I still have in my body today, still have bullets in my body today, were also found in the back of Gary Booker, who we shot 8 times and was witnessed by his peers. There's overwhelming evidence. My husband at the time thought when he got the gun out, but before he did shoot at Verona. He got the bullet and went through his shirt. I'm just sharing this because there's no doubt that he did it, or maybe we're not, that's not the point today. And I do have compassion. But there's no second chances for Etienne. There's no second chances. Justice must be upheld. I thought our system was here to protect us, protect the innocent. Every time we go through this, I can't even go outside my house sometimes. I'm terrified. And I pray for him, but he never once showed mercy or remorse to me. And I will say, if God is in his life, he could have written me a letter. And the one person that said, "You're sorry," thank you. I appreciate that. It means the world to me. But he never, ever once sent me a letter. He laughed at my mother at the trial when she saw those images of his autopsy. He laughed at her. He laughed at her. So I pray that God finds his heart. I do. But his judgment, it will be God. But please, no clemency. Please, I beg of you.
Thank you.
Keith Collins, pastor from New Orleans. I had the responsibility and care of loving this family through this event 28 years ago as a pastor. It was a horrible experience. It was a fog that sat on all of our lives. I was also not just their pastor, but a friend. I had a daughter who was born 3 months after ATM. They were playmates. I had the privilege of walking my daughter down the aisle this year. They will never experience that. Because their son was sentenced to death. And no one can undo that. And I know you guys carry a lot of weight. And I've heard lots of folks speak today. I'm a pastor. I believe in mercy. I am grateful for the mercy of God. I preach it every Sunday from the pulpit. But the same Bible that we're referring to, God reveals himself in a certain way in Scripture. When he speaks to Moses and he says to Moses, I am the Lord God, compassionate, merciful, slow to anger, and abounding in loving kindness, who does not allow the guilty to go unpunished. That's one sentence. The same God said all those things. The role of government is to enforce justice. Justice means nothing if someone is found guilty and all they have to do is say, I wish I hadn't done that. Well, then everybody gets to go free. That's not justice. I'm grateful for change. The mercy that Clifford needs, you can't give him. None of us can give him. Only the Creator can give him the mercy that he needs. And that mercy is made known through Jesus Christ and the forgiveness of sins and eternal life. And that is available to Clifford every day. He has every opportunity to receive the mercy of God. God's job is to give mercy. The role of government is to enforce justice. Please have mercy on this family. Please have mercy on the community that you represent by creating a deterrent that others will not become guilty of this because they recognize a death sentence truly is a death sentence.
Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate your comments. Mr. McGowan?
Again, members of the board, thank you. Edward McGowan with the District Attorney's Office. And on behalf of these family survivors and victims of the incredibly heinous fraud that the defendant undoubtedly committed. Again, we supported this family in the process. We submitted, in addition to their testimony today, the words that they wrote to this board. And we also, again, submitted our notice that the strictures put on their input today were in violation of the Victims' Bill of Rights Act. There is little I can do, nothing I can do to add to the eloquence and pain and courage, sorrow that they expressed today. They have lived certainly every day for the past 30 years. I do want to highlight that this mother drove 12 hours for her 2 minutes today. The burden that this process has put on this family has been intense and horrific. And your board members have incredible power today, incredible y'all taking an incredible amount of time to deliberate and issue your rules. But again, I ask you to consider the Victims' Bill of Rights. Thank you for allowing them to come and to express their concerns and their grief. But also in your vote, please give their words action. Give their words action and help give them closure and help put their grief to them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your comments. We're ready to vote. Mr. Freeman?
Okay, first off, I want to reiterate what Mr. Roche said earlier. You know, I've been in law enforcement 37 years. I was head of probation parole, and I've seen laws change. I've seen where once you were on parole and when you got revoked, you did day for day. You know, one bite at the apple. Now they eat the whole apple and you get revoked on the same supervision 3 or 4 times. And it very much does work on my conscience that these people, if we put them in general population, are one step from walking out the door. I just wanted to say that what Mr. Roche said is in fact a possibility. But with this case, I look at it and he not only killed one person, he killed two people. Okay, one 11-month-old child. That's just hard to fathom. He has a very poor supervision record. He was on supervision at the time this offense occurred. He has 25 write-ups, and one of them they found an ice pick in his cell. And victim and law enforcement opposite position, my vote is to deny.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. Ms. Jackson.
Thank you. At the risk sounding, I don't know the word to describe it. I think someone has suggested that it is looking more procedure than people. I'll make sure you seeing your pictures. I read the file. And I think we've taken what should have been a process where we're only deciding if a person gets a chance to make a case. And as horrific as this case is, and I don't minimize it in any way, there are people that we have given hearings to who have done as bad or worse. We've heard their cases, and some of them we have denied, and some of them we have made recommendations. And so to suggest, I would take exception with my colleague that granting an application, granting a right to at least make your case, does not mean you're gonna get relief. Look at our statistics. People get denied all the time after they've had a hearing. The purpose today is we have put some procedures in place to guide us in helping us decide whether or not the person is entitled just to a hearing. That's all. And as I've reviewed Mr. DeRousse's file, he does in fact meet the guidelines that we have set in place. Again, if he's granted a hearing, that doesn't mean he's granted relief. The outcome may still be the same, except you have the assurance, and everybody in this room has the assurance that that person had every opportunity to make their case before they are executed.
She had an opportunity.
I understand. I do understand. And anytime someone has lost a loved one, that feeling is real and is raw. And these cases are always very. But again, I look at the fact that his disciplinary record meets the standards that we set just for a hearing. I'm not even saying it will get relief, but for hearing, the amount of time that he served and the other consideration, I believe that he does meet the minimum requirements for a hearing. And so my vote today would be to grant his request for a hearing. And that's all I'm doing. Granting his request for a hearing. So that is my vote.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Mr. Roche.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before I deliver my decision, I'd like to acknowledge after a very long struggle, the offender earned a GED. And most people thought he was illiterate, he had disabilities, but he earned a GED. He's completed 3 courses, anger management, thinking for change, And he should be commended for that. But his disciplinary conduct record is undesirable. He had a disciplinary write-up in December of 2019 for fighting, less than 4 years ago. I know our standard to accept an application for this review is 2 years. But I have the discretion and I need to see a longer period of time where I see no disciplinary write-ups. 90% of all his write-ups in the last 28 years has been a serious, aggravated Class B write-up. We're not talking minor write-ups, we're talking about disobedience, aggravated work offense, aggravated sex. We're talking about 90% of all his write-ups are aggravated. And the last one is less than 4 years ago. This is his third felony conviction. He is a third felony convict. He's not a newbie. This was his third felony conviction. He has an extensive juvenile background, and he committed a very egregious offense. Prior to killing an 11-month-old baby 2 or 3 days ago, 2 or 3 days before that, he killed Mr. Gary Booker in attempts to rob him for Mr. Booker's hard-earned money. There's opposition in this case from law enforcement, Orleans Parish DA's office, the Attorney General of the state of Louisiana has sent a very strong letter of opposition. Both families are adamantly opposed to any clemency in this case. And I'd like to see more programs. He's taking anger management, thinking for a change, and making peace with the past. But as I understand it and read, he has a substance abuse problem. He needs to address that. For all the reasons I just mentioned, I'm denying the application.
Thank you, Mr. Roche. I'd like to thank all of the participants here today, all of the people on behalf of the victims and their families here today, as well as those people here who are in favor of the application. This is a hearing, an administrative hearing, to determine whether or not Mr. Durousset is entitled to a hearing. In our rules and our procedures, he has met all of those. I have reviewed all of the documentation that was submitted. I've reviewed all of the comments that were made today, as well as everything that I've read before. And under our guidelines, under what we do for administrative hearings, my vote would be to grant his application to have a hearing, not to release him, but to have a hearing. That's my vote. Today's vote is 2 to grant and 2 to deny. The application for hearing has been denied.
Thank you.